Happy Wednesday.
Yes.
Wait to get this going fully.
Yes.
So we can say good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump
All right,
day.
there we go. Good morning, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Conscious Straight Talk with Katie and Lindsey.
Hi, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a certified mediator.
And your name is Katie Hutchinson.
And my name is Katie Hutchinson.
And I'm Lindsey Kearns. I'm the mama behind MalibuMamaLoves.com. And I'm also a certified conscious trauma-informed life coach. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to be wrapping up a series that we've been working on, all about cheating.
Yeah.
And
Katie. My name's Katie.
What's up with your name today?
I don't know. We don't like it.
About to
We
call
don't
you
like
Kelly.
the name Katie.
I love the name Katie.
Yes.
Anyway, Katie was married for 10 years, started to suspect her husband of cheating. And if you haven't checked it out yet, check out that first episode. It's episode 30 on that, because we share a lot of great tips of what to look for, a lot of the signs within your relationship that something isn't what it should be.
Changing patterns and habits and all
Big
of that.
ones,
Buying a BMW.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Working
you
out.
suspected him, you caught him in the act, you confronted him, it became a little bit of a physical altercation, which landed with you in jail.
Yeah, that wasn't a
Very traumatic experience. We had jailhouse therapies
You
for
get
a night.
jailhouse therapy. Yeah. I had a pending felony against me.
For domestic violence, which is probably the most scariest of everything,
That's
because
the scary.
you can lose your license, you can lose
everything
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So you had that hanging over your head. You were really scared. You had to leave your house. You had, 10 hours? 24 hours? I thought it was just a day.
Actually, you're right. I
had to
knew
be out by
24
5.
hours ahead that I could lose my spot, or my house. So I did start to pack a little bit, but it wasn't until after court at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon that I had like till 9 or 10 o'clock at night to load up everything.
So your sister came over, so you had 2 cars, you loaded up your pictures and your most important, valuable things to you, and you went to a hotel for 3 months.
Yes.
Where you got to celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, and your birthday.
Yeah, and I will say I went to...
in your house.
No, and I didn't even... my ex-husband, he did a lot. I will give him that. And he did a lot of cooking and grocery shopping and kind of put me in this like child role. And I'm not blaming it on him. I allowed it to happen too. But I remember being in the grocery store getting stuff for Thanksgiving, and I remember just breaking down crying in the aisle.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know what to get. I'm a good cook, but I was just out of it.
Yeah. So you went through the 3 months. You did everything right with a supervised visitation. You guys go back to court at that point because you had done everything right. You checked it in with the court, and you decided to go to 50-50 custody, where you would have the kids for a week and he would have them for a week, and just keep going and changing that way.
Yeah.
And I think about this time you decided that you couldn't live in a hotel anymore.
Yeah.
So what happened? Take us from
with
there.
some help from family, I was able to buy a house. I don't know if I would have gotten the kids back. I was living in a hotel. So I don't know if I would have gotten them back for 1 week, 50%. So I did move into a house, and, that was really nice, except for I lived on my own. I did have roommates.
It's different though when you're in your 20s and teens,
exactly,
as opposed to when you do it with kids.
And when
I learned that the hard way.
And when you're 40, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I hadn't done it for so long.
And this was probably the first time you bought your own house.
For sure.
With the 3 kids, and
all
the responsibility fell on you, which is hard when you don't know what to do. You've got to suddenly take care of a yard, take care of your cars, figure out all these things.
Pay the bills.
But I think your house turned into be a little bit of a disaster.
It did.
For being such an amazing property.
For one, I didn't know that you were supposed to have home insurance. That turned out to be a bit of an issue because I had 3 slab leaks, if you know what those are, and they're underneath wood.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. And so
you basically say that her kitchen puked and exploded.
It puked and exploded. It was an epic disaster. I had to have a full new kitchen put in with no insurance behind it.
Yeah.
You
were learning to take care of the bills and run the household finances, which again, for a lot of people in this situation, we all go through that.
Yeah. He liked to grocery shop. I hadn't even grocery shopped for a really long time. So, back to that. The toilets would get clogged. I didn't know what to do. So we just have a clogged toilet until the plumber could come, and that could be a long time. Yeah. I didn't know how to take care of the car. My dad came up all the time from Newport Beach, and I beat myself up because my dad's an amazing carpenter. He's not a carpenter by trade, but he can fix all these things. He's like a man, you know what I mean? And he would always say, Katie, you should learn how to do this and learn that. And I was like, you're lame, Dad. And
it's hard, all this response. And plus, you're
I'm a
trying to
girl.
cope with the heartbreak.
Well, at
it's
this
hard.
time, I should have, what I'm saying is I should have listened when I was a kid and taken it in, actually learned how to like
do all that
do stuff around
Yeah.
the house. But I was like, not cool, Dad. And I'm a girl. So not listening. So yes. So what else?
So you had all that going on.
Mhm.
And was it okay with the kids going back and forth?
That was a disaster. My eldest was very traumatized because he saw the fighting and all of that. So he was very tantrumy, and that was very bad.
Which I think, isn't that what got you off the DV in the end? Was that his story?
The private investigator interviewed him, and they taped it, and he said, I saw my mommy getting choked and whatever else. And that's a big part of why I got off of the felony, which did take a good year and a half, but I knew it was going to be dropped because I just had a strong feeling it was going to get dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and how were because you've got 3 kids.
I've got 3 kids. So my daughter was having all kinds of issues in kindergarten, reading issues. So I wanted to take her out to and get her in with an educational psychologist who's like extraordinary. Like people from Saudi Arabia send their kids to her. So I wanted to get my child in there. But one thing that's really important to know, at least around here, is the courts back up public school. They do not, if you want to send your child to private school or an educational psychologist, you have to pay.
Yeah.
So I went to court with all this proof and all this testing and all these, because it was a serious learning disability. And, basically the judge said, I don't care. She should go to public school, and if you don't
her dad
want her
was
to,
in denial of it, right?
Dad was in denial. Said
he
she
didn't listen
have
to the
any
teachers
problems.
saying that there's issues. He didn't listen to any of the grades.
Said I was crazy. Said I was crazy. So I
guess somehow you were like controlling the whole school.
Yeah, I was controlling I was controlling all the teachers.
It just brings me up when parents don't listen to the teachers because of the situation and like, what are you doing? You're not making these reports up. You don't want that for your daughter.
No,
like, pitch in and help.
Gosh. So I ended up, with help, I ended up spending a lot of money. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars on my daughter, driving to Woodland Hills constantly. Yeah. And then, just using
and he would
gas.
refuse to drive them.
Well, my son was having all kinds of problems. So I was like, I've got to get him in a sport. I've already tried a bunch and he didn't like any of them. So I got him into water polo, and that's like a 5-night. This is like intense, plus like weekend trips and all this stuff. And so he refused to drive my son on his time. And so I had to hire somebody and pay for like a nanny to drive him to water polo on my ex-husband's time.
Just making it difficult for you.
Just making it more difficult. Yeah. And also...
And while you were going on through this time, was there anything else going on?
Oh, yes. Okay, so after like 2 years, I was saying to my mom, he spends so much money on food. He's always at Nobu and the Ivy. I'm like, craziness. Like, how does he afford this? Like, I don't do anything. And my mom's a real estate agent. She was like, oh my gosh, I bet he's not paying the mortgage. We've got to find out. So we looked up. She's able to look up really quickly. And she was like, oh my gosh, he isn't paying the mortgage. It's been going on for like a year. And your house is about to go into foreclosure. So here I'm about to lose because I'm still on the property. And so my name's still on the property. So I'm about to lose the house and lose all the money that I put into the house. And a
foreclosure will screw your credit for a very long time.
Yes. So we had to call an ex parte hearing. And he tried to even fight that he hadn't been paying the mortgage. And so he was forced to sell the house. We sold the house together. I said, you can buy me out. I gave him a really fair price. And he said I was crazy. It was always I was crazy. So some gaslighting.
Great deflection.
Yeah. And so a lot of gaslighting going on.
For sure. Did you start dating at all?
Okay. So I'm telling you, 3 years even into the divorce, I still would have worked on my marriage because I wanted my family to be together. And I knew it was better for the children. But he wasn't having any of it. So after about 6 months, because I had been with somebody for 12 years, 10 years married, I felt alone in a scary world. I had my family, I had my friends and all of this and that, but I just felt terrified to be alone. And so I started dating. And that didn't work out so well. So I'd go out on a date and they'd be like, how how are you? Like, what's going on with your life? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, not good. My husband cheated on me and left me and I went to jail. Well, I didn't get many second dates after that. Yeah, they weren't calling me back. So that didn't work out so well for me. Although I learned a ton, of which I will tell you in the future. We have some really good stories for the future.
Dating after divorce.
Yes.
Look out for that episode.
Yes.
It's coming soon.
Yes, it's coming soon. It's coming soon.
Okay, so this sounds so traumatic and so much going on during this 4 or 5 year period. How did you cope? How did you get through that?
Yeah, so I went to therapy 3 times a week for 6 years.
Okay.
And my therapist really taught me to go to logic because I was like, I still love him. I love my family. And she would say, Katie, you can love each other, and that doesn't mean you can love him forever, but that doesn't mean you should be together. This is somebody that threw you in jail, that threw you under the bus, that cheated on you, that did all these horrible things to you. This is not somebody you should be with, and you've got to go to logic and get out of your heart and go to your brain. Yeah. And it took me a long time to learn that, but I will say I've learned it. I'm not saying that when I break up with somebody or they break up with me, that I'm not traumatized for a couple weeks, but then I go and I start going to logic and going, it doesn't matter that I cared about them a ton. It's not meant to be. And there's a certain person that I'm supposed to be with out there. And I don't care if it takes, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, but I need to be okay on my own. And I remember asking my mom, I said, when is this going to end? Because my mom went through a divorce with my dad when I was very young. I said, when is this pain going to end? Because it's like unbearable. My mom goes, oh, wait, 5 years. I said, thanks. That's
I used to get the same thing too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. So, and it did take about 5 years.
So therapy 3 times a week.
So therapy 3 times a week. I did need some medication. I exercised constantly. I slept a lot, I've got to be honest, when I wasn't working. I did work, which was a mixed bag. It was good because then I wasn't focusing on myself, but then I gave myself time to grieve, but I didn't have enough alone time. So, so I exercised, I processed with friends and family all the time. I would allow myself, though, to cry all the time, and I would feel better about that. I would feel better afterwards.
To get the tears out.
Yeah.
Did you do any journaling or writing or anything?
Oh my gosh, yes. I started writing a book, and then my computer was stolen. So I lost my book, but I will, when I have time in like 20 years, start writing the book again. Yeah.
So as we wrap up the series, you guys, let's go over our tips for getting through this divorce, right? You want to do therapy a lot.
Oh my gosh.
You need it 3 days a week. I probably should be doing a lot more than I actually am.
It's got to be a priority to help you be okay being alone. And I think as women, it's really important because society tells us we're not okay being alone.
Right.
And so it was really helpful for me. I had to work so hard on learning to be okay by being alone. And I will say, I remember getting on the freeway about 5.5 years into the divorce. Or maybe, about 5.5 years. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so happy being alone. Like, yes, I'm dating people or whatever else, but like, I'm just so happy being alone. I don't want to be with anybody. And then, of course, I met a serious boyfriend after right away. So you have to be okay alone.
So therapy,
journaling, exercise.
Exercise is huge. Talking to your friends, right?
I talked to my friends and family.
Getting it out.
Kept talking. Not hold it in. I am not a holder inner.
Yep. And probably trying to focus on work too, right?
Yeah.
Finding things to focus on.
Right. And that was a mixed bag. Like I said, it was good because I was focusing on their problems and I was able to get out of myself, but then I had to go home and be myself again. And sleeping was really, really hard. It's still hard to this day.
Yeah. Well, when you have a major life change.
I even got 10 gray hairs, so that's really
I don't count them.
Not that there's anything wrong with them, but
So, all right, you guys, we're going to end it here, and we will see you on Friday. It will really be Friday on Friday.
It will really be Friday.
And we will have another great episode for you guys.
Yes.
So stay safe out there. We love you guys.
Have a wonderful day.